this time around I want to show you a small demo of mine. So I've got a panel with screens list. There's basic and it has a form. There's control item. There's another form. And there's a copy where the only difference is hi message over here. And on this one there's no hi message. And when I try and submit, although the validation isn't that pretty, but there is some sort of messaging. If I fill in some data, then I will indeed satisfy some sort of validation. And also here it says, well, there's expected inputs, values, and I can select one of those with native HTML tooltip thing. And when I submit it, it is all satisfied. So the validation is in there, and yeah. So what I'm showing is actually some sort of validation technique, and what I got inspired by was JSON forms, which leverages normal JSON schema validation. You've seen the nationality possibilities that I could set over here, right? So I'm reusing their approach from JSON schema, but well, yeah, if you will see, there's some required and string schema. So do check out JSON schemas overall. It's a very useful thing. And what they use for UI schema is their own format where there's a vertical layout with horizontal layout, and there's a bunch of controls that look into JSON schema's name or a path to a JSON schema. So for example, this control is supposed to show the age inside personal data. So there's JSON schema personal data, and it has properties age. So this is enough information for the thing over here to know, all right, it's supposed to be a number, right? Again, the age is a number of type integer, and it has a message, enter your age. Enter your age. Well, yeah. So what they have, this entire thing is actually front end rendered. So the front end knows how to process the schema, this complicated stuff, and the front end knows how to process this JSON. And it also knows how to process the data onto generated things, which in turn makes the section where the form renders to load kind of slowly. You see it kind of jumps. So what I did, I tried out Golang. I render everything in Go Backend. So again, actually let's inspect. If I reload the page, yep. So and the only thing you see is the HTML that I'm supposed to show. If I enter data, then I will get the entire HTML for the form section, and I re-render this section with HTMX. So this is what I do right now. I use for the backend this library JSON schema from Cree.io. And if I just show you bits and pieces of that, let me show you. So whenever I post data, I know where I'm posting from. I know the specific um, folder actually where the schema and the UI schema reside. I go into that folder and I get the UI schema and JSON schema. I check if this is correct JSON, and I check if UI JSON is correct, and then I get my data. Oh, this is a good thing to show actually. When I post data, I post data with full names of a scope I bind my inputs to. So this name is literally a kind of URI path to the schema. So for example, properties name again is, let me show you that on a file, JSON of some sorts. So properties name, right? This is a path. So hashtag slash properties slash name is a path for this validation thing. And it only makes sense to post that with that specific key because, reasons. And I group data then to represent something for my schema to work with. So I would strip the data from properties, and the path for the actual data would be just slash name, and for the personal data would be just personal data slash age. So kind of complicated, but whatever. And when I render the entire thing, I render everything with basic templates by Go. So whenever I have my form, right, there's a section where I just check if I should render form. So this is my block. If there's some layout information, which I got from my configuration, then I do go into the form block. If the form block again isn't there, then there's my submit button. So this is the thing over here. And then we go into like literally going deeper into the layout itself. Let's again look into a prettier version of the layout for basic thing. So there's a vertical layout, and it has immediately a horizontal layout. So just we could have items like name and age and the birth date on one line. So there's our one line with all these things. And then underneath we've got our label. So we got label, additional information. And the horizontal layout again will show height, nationality, and occupation. And this is our next horizontal layout. So, and all of that is in vertical layout. So I render that in this form type switch where I just check, all right, vertical layout. Show me the vertical layout block. I do my bootstrap formatting or styling over here. And I just iterate over elements. And every element could be another type of whatever form element. And I go recursively into, all right, maybe now this is the horizontal layout. And the horizontal layout is literally the same. It goes into iteration of elements we could have inside, and we recursively again go into the form type switch block. So the form type switch eventually gets into the label block, which is just text, and the label block again is just this text, header 1 in my case. And whenever we go into the control block, well, our control block could be a bit different. So I'm not going to show code maybe for that, but I do have means to extract information from Json schema if the thing is required. I do have ways to check what the input type is, and that's pretty much the way I'm showing text input or number input or date. Literally, I'm going through the schema since it's just JSON, and I get this, all right, it's a string, so I interpret that as text. And whenever there's text and, for example, format date, is it on this screen? Oh yeah, if the birth date is format date, then it makes sense to read that as input type date. So I've got my native picker. Cool, huh? So I concentrate on pure HTML again. And for the nationality, well, I do read the enums. So reading just enums from this section allows me to build, let me show you in the template, allows me to build the data list HTML component where I iterate over the options I extracted and I just print them out as options. And I've got my special name ID for the data list options. I combine the scope. So if we see HTML over here, so this column input data list, it's data list options, properties, nationality, so the full scope name where the data resides, and this input references the list to data blah 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 nationality. So this input knows that the data for it to show resides in this thing, which allows me to show native, mobile friendly, also picker. So cool. A lot of stuff is done. A lot of stuff is still to be done. I did push this to my GitHub, and I will post the link below this video. Thank you, and yeah, actually do subscribe and like.